Today, I'm going to talk about one service that I wish would make a comeback in Nigeria. Like, if this service ever made a comeback, trumpets will blow, noise will be made, everything will be in harmony. Now, you might be asking, what service am I talking about? And the service I'm talking about is Opay's Oride. If you already live in Nigeria, you already know what Opay is, the app that like literally everyone uses. I know not all of you use it, but still everyone uses the app, to make transfers and so on. Back in 2019, Opay had this service called Oride, which is basically a ride sharing service like the likes of Uber and Bolt. And this service was insanely popular. Like, I can remember when I started using the service, that's when I first started university in Nigeria. Like, it was so nice. Everyone was using this app. Like, everyone. It was so freaking popular. And at the same time, it was so freaking cheap. Like, for example, if I wanted to go to my house and then to school and back, like for a whole round trip, if I use a keke, it would cost like 1,000 naira for me for a round trip. But then if I use the Oride app, I would be paying half of what I would use for a round trip, or maybe less or slightly more, like around that range, like if you get what I'm trying to say. Or if I wanted to go from my house to the mall and back, like if I were to use keke, I would be using like 600 naira. But then if now that I were to use the Oride app, I'll be using half of what I would use to go with keke, or even less for a whole round trip. And things that depending on what state you live in Nigeria, you would have some extra features. Like, for example, there were options to be picked up with a car depending on what state you lived in. There are even some states that they had like food delivery as an option. I didn't have any of those things in my state, the only keke, but oh well. However, all things have to, go. And that's what happened with the Oride service. So at some point in time, this service got banned in some states in Nigeria, including Lagos, from what I've read. And at some point, this service stopped everywhere altogether. This service stopped in 2020, by the way. And I heard that like some things like the COVID pandemic and government sanctions are what affected the app overall. And it just made me really sad that a service like this is gone. Like, I don't think we'll ever see any service like this in Nigeria at all. Even if Opay decides, hey, let them make a comeback and reintroduce this service, there's so many things that will not make it seem to be cheap the way it was before. Like, for example, the price of fuel, dollar to naira, all that stuff like that are what are going to affect the service overall, like if we were to ever make a comeback. And sure, we do have other ride-sharing apps like Uber, Bolt, and so on in Nigeria, but however, these apps do not have the same impact, in my opinion, as whatever Opay made. Now, what was your favorite digital service in Nigeria, and what do you think about this video and the Opay or writing? Just comment below, okay? And peace out.